What is going on, guys? It's Wraith here, back with another video, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about one of the most asked questions probably on my page. And like I tell you guys every single time, if you want a video made, comment it down below and comment what you want me to make and I will get it done for you guys. But this is actually how to win more fights in Fortnite. This is probably the biggest topic of all time, basically, because if you can't win fights, you're obviously not going to win tournaments, you're not going to win games. So kind of a big deal to basically learn how to win fights and stuff. Obviously it's a very in-depth topic you can go into. I'll try my best to break down everything for you guys and actually give you guys some tips to actually improve, because every single fight, if you think about it, is different. Every single scenario is different. There's not going to be one time you have the exact same fight every single time, right? Everyone does different motions. Even if you're fighting the same guy over and over again, they're going to do different things. They might be a little bit repetitive with some things, but every fight is different. So you gotta adapt and be ready. But the first tip I'm going to talk about and how to actually improve your fights and win more is take more fights. Seems pretty simple, obviously. If you're only going to play like 30 minutes a day and stuff, obviously you're not going to be able to get that many fights in, and you probably won't improve as quick as you'd want to. But take more fights. If you can play for longer, if you can't play for longer, play a little bit more aggressive. Land somewhere like Tilted if you'd like. If you're not a big fan of Tilted, land somewhere like Fatal Fields. But if you see someone, don't run from it. Fight it. Even if you don't have the greatest loop, practice fighting people. If someone's getting third party and there's two people fighting, go ahead, get up close. You can try and cheat them with your AR, you can try and pump them, whatever, right? Try and take more fights. Don't just run from a fight and escape. If, like I said, if you see a third party, go after it. Don't just sit back and run, unless you're obviously going to get screwed by a zone or something. The more fights you can get into, the more prepared you're going to be for a future fight, and the more scenarios you go through. And plus, it just overall helps your intelligence, your aim, building, everything, right? The more encounters you're going to get in, the better you're going to be, right? Like, for example, Ninja, he has thousands and thousands, maybe I think even 100,000 kills, right? That's how many people he's actually fought. So obviously he's going to be good at fighting people because he's just been in so many different scenarios. He's seen most of it all before, and there's not that many new intelligent things people are doing. So most people are pretty basic. So you can kind of get a knack of how people fight, right? Now, the second tip I'm going to basically give you guys is do more Turtle Wars or Storm Wars. And again, this is all just about getting in more fights. Now, obviously, in the game, it can be a little bit stressful because you're going to mine up 2,000 mats, 1,000 mats, depends if you're playing arena or not. You're going to go fight someone, and since you're not the best at fighting, you're going to die, right? That's not the most fun thing to do, right? So kind of something you can do is do Turtle Wars or Storm Wars, which you can find tons of YouTube links, or just look up on the internet and find Discords to people you can join and actually use Storm War and Turtle War all the time. Or you can even do it with your buddies. And again, this is just getting that basic knack of fighting into kind of your system. Because basically, if you fight 1,000 people, you're going to be way better at fighting the next 1,000 people you fight. If you fight 2,000 people, the next 2,000 you're going to fight, you're going to be way more prepared to fight them, right? So with Turtle Wars and Storm Wars, you're fighting someone. If you die, you just respawn instantly and you go back in. Or for Storm Wars, you respawn after the round's done. And you can keep fighting. You can keep worrying about it. You can worry about third parties, like how to deal with them, how to fight from height, how to fight from low ground, how to finish fights quickly because you're getting third party if you don't. Like, there's so many skills you can learn, and it's just a little bit quicker and stuff, I find, than a normal game. So that's a very good way to actually improve fighting. And the third tip, and this is probably the most important tip, and I'd say the one that's actually like the reason you guys are dying, even though you might not think it is, and it's improving your mechanics. Now, some of you guys might be like, okay, well, I'm a pretty good player, like I hit most of my shots, I can build pretty good. But you can always get better, and you can always improve whatever you're building, you're aiming, you're editing, right? So there's kind of 3 different mechanics that goes through Fort. 4 if you count game sense, but I'm not really talking about that. But the mechanics is editing, shooting, and building, right? Pretty simple. And nowadays with creative, you can kind of work on all 3 of those with different maps. You can look on YouTube. My channel has some. Just check in the videos. It'll show you how to help your aim, how to help your editing, how to help your building, everything, right? So the more you practice those, the better they're all going to be. If you do tons of aiming courses, obviously your aiming is going to get better. If you do tons of editing courses, your editing is going to get better, right? The more you do, and this is like for anything, the more you do, the more better and experience you're going to get, or the better you're going to get and the more experience you're going to get, right? So there's tons of editing, tons of aiming courses you can do. If you're PC, you can play Kovacs. Like I say every video, I'm a huge fan of that. If you're console, just do aiming courses. obviously, like I said, your aiming and editing and building can always be better. To help your building, you can either free build, which I love to do. You can practice your high ground retakes, you can practice your 90s, you can practice turtling, you can practice moving turtles like rotations, you can practice anything that kind of comes to your mind. And just keep grinding it, keep going away until you never mess up. And even to this day, like, I've put hours and hours into free builds, and I still screw up all the time on my builds. Like I said, the more time you put in, the easier it's going to be, and the less you're going to screw up. So it's just more about putting in that time and actually improving. Another thing you can kind of do is 1v1s, which I talk about all the time. Is 1v1s are probably one of the best ways you can actually improve in Fortnite. You'll get way better with, again, everything kind of, because you're building against a player. You're fighting against another player. You have to make clean edits. You have to do cool edits, right? There's just so many different things that kind of happen in 1v1s. Obviously, they're not too realistic to game, but to kind of help that, basically, when you go into creative, I know you have that speed and you have that editing and that prowess and that confidence after 1v1 in your duo or your buddy or whatever, and then you go into game and you don't do those exact builds. Like on a retake, you'll just do bot 90s instead of your actual good 90s. Like, that's the big mistake I always used to do. But that's a problem. Just try and be more confident in pubs. Be like, I don't care. Or even arena, I don't care if I die. I'm gonna try and I'm gonna creative fight this. That's always the mentality you want to go and have going into a fight. Is I'm just gonna creative fight this. I'm gonna try and build. If he takes height, play low, wait for him to drop, try and break him down, get a good pump in, edit on him, whatever. Right? Try and creative fight every single, I guess you could say, arena or pub fight, right? Now, the last tip, and probably one of the most important, it's not as important as mechanics, but one of the most important, is trying to be more intelligent, creative in fights, as well as adapt to fights. Like I said in the first part of this video, every single fight you're going to do is going to be different. You have to learn how to adapt to different scenarios. You could be fighting someone, you could get third-partied. Off the bat, you could get sniped for 150 in the body from a heavy sniper. You have to go into the fight 50 health left. You could get clapped off high ground, you could get a glitch, your screen could freeze, and then you get hit for 130. Every single fight's going to be different. You could get third-partied, anything, right? You got to learn how to adapt to different scenarios and adapt to different functions that happen in fight and actually get ready for them. Obviously, you're not going to be prepared for every single scenario that can happen. That's literally physically impossible, but there's so many things that you can do just to get prepared, and that's, again, fighting through more people, improving your mechanics. Now, what I mean by saying fight more intelligently and fighting more creative is, let's say the average player, right? He's probably gotten in a good amount of fights, pretty good at building, pretty good at editing. Most players that I know will, in most fights, are going to try and hit you with your AR. They're going to build for height. They're going to do a couple 90s, try and get height. If they don't get height, they're either going to try and retake it, they're going to box up, or they're going to drop down. Normally one of those three options, right? Some people will do different ones, but most of the scenario, that's going to be someone's low ground, they're either going to camp there or they're going to push height. Two options, right? So most of the time, after you get in more fights, you can kind of tell what people are going to do, and you're like, okay, he's obviously going to stay low ground. So you don't want people to know what you're going to do. You want to be intelligent, creative, and you want to be unpredictable, right? So if you're at height, you can try a cool edit. Try and edit 3 layers down and try and pump him when he's not expecting it, because he's just chilling in his box. He's chilling low ground, thinking of what to do, right? If you're low ground, instead of trying to retake height or something, or just camp, try faking a breakdown and then retaking height when he drops down, right? Try and do something they're not expecting, because that's actually how you're going to win more fights. If you can be the more unpredictable player and not someone like, okay, well, he's just going to chill down there and then I'm going to have to drop, retake his wall, edit through, and kill him, right? The more unpredictable you are, the way more fights you're going to win. You'll see people like Savage, for example. He's great for this. He's so intelligent in his fights that no one has any idea what he's going to do, right? That classic movie does where someone has a ramp. Most people would either try and break the ramp and build their own, or break theirs, phase through it, and shoot them, right? What he does is he retakes a floor, puts down his turret, and then breaks the ramp, right? 95% of people you're fighting aren't going to do that, but when someone does that, you just panic, right? You're like, oh my god, I've never seen this before. Or you try and go for a risky pump and you don't hit him, then he kills you, right? So the more often that you can do something unpredictable and something people don't expect, you're going to, trust me, you're going to win so many more fights. It's going to be crazy, right? So if you can think of something or even do something out of the ordinary, trust me, you will win so many more fights. But hopefully this video didn't help you guys If this didn't, let me know in the comments. If it did, let me know in the comments. If you think of any other ways that you can help win more fights, leave down in the comments. I'll pin it and like it so other people can read it and actually improve off you guys. And I want to say thank you guys all for watching. I hope you have a great day. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button.
I got one.
All in the next video. Have a good day. Yeah.